Hello, folks, and welcome back. I'm feeling crafty today. Ooh, let's create something. Today, I want to try to make some new baits from old baits, and those new baits that we're going to make from the old baits are going to be dice baits. Much like other bass fishermen, the dice bait certainly intrigues me. That being said, I'm not spending $20 on them. I'm going to just make some. I posted a short not long ago turning other baits into fuzzy baits, so to speak, which is nothing more than just adding some skirt material to other baits. But now I want that sort of dice bait shape, so we're going to make it. So to achieve that, I have gotten on ye olde Amazon and ordered this silicone candy mold. Now these are not perfectly square, but that's not going to matter, I don't think, so we're going to run with it. I will link this in the description if you're looking for your own. So this guy is what's going to make our actual dice bait body. Now the plastic for our dice bait is going to come from random old torn up soft plastics. Yep, you can use old soft plastics, melt them down and make new soft plastics. I've done it for a long time, works fine. Something you need to keep in mind is you don't want to get too exotic with your plastic mixes. The rule of thumb I've always followed is trying to mix like plastics together. So obvious plain Jane soft plastics is what I will melt down together. I'm not using anything biodegradable. I'm not using any of the super stretchy stuff. I'm using the very basic stuff to melt down. Now, certainly you could experiment with some of those other plastics. I've personally never done it. And I know your very basic plain Jane plastics melt down fine, so I just stick with those. Over the course of the year, bluegill bites your tail off of your worm, or the hook rips out, whatever it may be. I keep a little baggie. I stuff those in there for this purpose, just to remelt them. Now, when you do that, you end up with some really interesting color combinations, which actually I kind of like. More often than not, you're going to be giving a fish something it's never seen before, because a lot of times you'll end up with some color schemes that you just wouldn't want to make on your own. Think like baby poop colors. What you're going to do is get some kind of heat-safe container. Good old Pyrex measuring cups works great. Whatever baits you're going to use, you're just going to cut them or rip them into nice little small manageable chunks. Now from here, you need to get this heated up. Your microwave will work just fine for that. What you need to do is very small bursts, 15, 20 seconds, heat it, bring it out, give it a mix, see where you're at. Go very slowly. You do not want to overheat this and scorch it and mess everything up. You just want to get it nice and hot so that it can be poured. Now I'm going to improvise a little bit today, heating mine up, because my shop microwave, the one that I'm not afraid to put any number of weird things in to heat up, has actually bit the biscuit. So it is no more. This does give off a bit of a plasticky smell. I don't like to use my normal cooking microwave for that. So to heat mine up, I'm going to do a double boiler setup, which is nothing more than a boiling container of water with this setting inside. That's actually a very nice controlled way to do this, because you stand much less of a risk of scorching your plastic because it's slow and steady. Now again, there's a little bit of fuminess here, so think about putting this in your microwave. Just saying, if your significant other is not going to be wild about that, I wouldn't do it. So now we need to get this heated up. Once you've got your little concoction melted down, we're just going to now pour it in our little molds. Not like that. Not all of them were great, but there's going to be some usable ones in here. So now all you're going to do, just let this thing hang out, let everything set up and get nice and dry, and then clean that up before you get in trouble for it. This is what you tend to end up with, very organically gross colors. But yeah, a bass will eat that. Grab this guy out here, see what it looks like. So, you know, pouring into this mold, we didn't get a flawless finish to it. We had some air bubbles and stuff in there, but that's, you know, it's not a big deal. I don't think that's going to dissuade a fish from eating it by any stretch. So I'm going to keep unmolding here, get all of these out and see what we have to work with. They're going to cool down a lot quicker if you can get them out of there. Of course, let them cool down enough that you can actually work with them, and then you can just start demolding. So I'm going to continue on getting all of these out. We have our little cubes here. So now, I've done this to other baits. This is the first time I've actually made a cube style body, but I've done this with pieces of, Senkos and things like that. And I have found that a darning needle works well for this. So the upside of a darning needle is they're going to have a nice big eye on there, which will make getting this skirt material in there much easier. So you'll need a darning needle and then skirt material of choice. So I've just selected some random ones here. I'm going to go for a really out there combo with this because you never know. The craziest stuff fishes well. So yeah, the skirt material, those are going to come with little tabs on the end, which keeps all of that together. You would just want to cut those tabs off so that you got free flowing fibers. So cut that out, and then select one of your skirt pieces here. And now we're just going to thread the needle like so. I found that it's easier just to have a little bit of a tag, okay? Instead of doubling over it or anything, just a small tag's all you need. And we'll just go ahead and stab that right through. Now, here's the thing. Slow. Go slow, because there's a lot more friction here than you think. This really bites. That's what makes this work. This rubber really seals back in on itself. So there's a lot more friction there than you think. So once you get it through, it'll slowly become a little bit easier. But take your time, because there's a lot of friction here. We want that because, again, that's what's going to make this thing hold together. But then we would just pull that through till we get them wherever we want. You can tinker with them as much as you want. Try to get them evened up. And that's all you're going to do. Easy as that. What I'm going to do is go ahead and I think do kind of 4, then a couple on the sides, and drop it in the floor. I'm not going to subject you to the torture of sitting here watching me do each individual one of these, because it's boring and I'll run out of things to say. So yeah, that's just all you're going to do. Well, there we go. Quite the critter. So I just went 4 through the top, then 2 on each side to get a nice full looking bait. And yeah, it just looks like one of those goofy things that a bass would eat. That almost looks like something you'd buy in a store. I did it, and you can too. So all told, I was able to get the legs in these in about 3 minutes. So little tedious, nothing major. I didn't want to jump out the window by the time I was done. It's pretty easy. So there we go. For me, with projects like this, it is exciting. I have created something in this weird toxic sludge green with blue legs. What a strange combination. But there's something so thrilling about seeing if this combination will work. This is my combination. This isn't something that came to me in some package from someone else. This is something that I came up with. The weird little assemblage of worms that I melted down created this very unique green that will probably never be something that I can recreate ever again, to be honest with you. But it's something special, and it's something that I had my hand in. That's one of the things that has always drawn me so much to fly fishing. I love designing flies, or even tying existing patterns, putting my own spin on them, and then producing fish off of that. There's something so special about having such a direct part of that lure that produces. It's just special. There's something so special about having your hand directly in something that produces and fools that big old bass that's laying over there in those cattails. It's not just saving a buck. Of course, that's a great bonus, but it's more knowing that I made this little critter that fooled that fish. It's nice. So with a little bit of time and some old baits that were just destined to be thrown away, you can create something that might just fool that big old bucket mouth into eating it. Try it out. Tight lines.